Gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Hide Site. I'm United States Army sniper currently serving, and in today's video we're going to talk about recon on a budget. Now, there are two very important things when conducting reconnaissance, and that is the ability to camouflage yourself and having a stable platform to either A, shoot off of, or B, observe from. And in today's video we're going to talk about how you can do those things cheaply or without spending any money at all. Now, when we talk about a stable platform to shoot from or observe from, in the prone behind your gun will always be the most optimal, as it's the most comfortable and you will likely be able to hold it for the longest period of time when compared to other forms of stability. However, you may find that on certain objectives, it may not always be feasible to observe from the prone effectively. For example, in this spot, the vegetation is very thick at knee height, and this is just not optimal for me. However, if I were to sit on a higher plane, I can see a wider range of my sector, and I might be able to find a better loophole at a higher plane than in the prone. Now, the solution to this dilemma is simple. Throw the tripod down, throw your glass or your rifle in there, and boom, you're good to go. However, some of you may not own a fancy tripod, nor see the need to purchase one. Or, like me, on an occasion, the tripod gets forgotten in the truck. There are a few ways we can solve this field expediently, and that's with some paracord and a couple good sticks. Now, if all we have is some paracord, I've selected 2 trees here. Now, what you would do is you take your paracord, you tie a bow line to one end. Then you take your other end, you run it to your other tree. Okay, and now you can simply just wrap your hand around this, pull it as tight as you need it, sit your rifle into it, and bam, you've got a nice saddle. Your rifle is supported by a paracord, and I could hold this for a long time. Very stable. Now, if you can only find one tree to tie off of, you can tie what's known as a vertical saddle. I did that by taking one end of my paracord and tying a stick to it. I then threw it over my desired branch, and then you just tie a square knot at the bottom. Now I've got a nice little saddle that can support my rifle. Now, if you don't have a lot of standoff from your objective, I don't encourage this one, as you're kind of announcing your position with a perfectly vertical piece of paracord. However, in everything you do, you are assuming risk. You may be asking, okay, well, if we're looking for quick or field expedient ways to create stability, why couldn't we just rest our rifle on a tree? And I'll tell you why. Now, trees create natural vertical hard lines within nature. Now, when you use one to conceal yourself or support your rifle and you peer around the side of one, you contrast against that hard line. And it creates what's known as a tree cancer, which looks very unnatural and can actually be spotted from very far away, which is why when looking to conceal ourselves or create stability, we avoid using trees. So another form of support we can create is what's known as a makeshift tripod. So what you're doing is you're selecting 3 sticks of a similar height at a determined height that you think you're gonna have to sit at. You're then going to take your paracord and tie it to one stick, and you're then just going to figure 8 this paracord through all 3, kind of like I'm doing. It can be pretty sloppy, it doesn't need to be perfect. And then once you have the desired amount of paracord wrapped around these sticks, you can then just kind of teepee them against each other. Now, before we set into our tripod, what we can do to further camouflage our position is we're going to take hair ties and put those hair ties on these legs every couple inches. So it'll look something like that with a hair tie every couple inches. Then what we're going to do is we're going to set that tripod back up at its desired height. And then from there, we can take natural vegetation and tuck it into those hair ties. This way our position would look a little more natural. So we do a lot more of that. And now I can take my rifle, adjust these legs if I need to, and bam, you've got a makeshift tripod. Now, gentlemen, I want to note that for all three methods that I've shown you, from the horizontal saddle to the vertical saddle and the makeshift tripod, in order to demonstrate those things to you, I selected very sparse locations. That way you guys could see how that looks. I want to clarify that when selecting these positions, you're going to pick spots that provide optimal concealment. A lot of thick vegetation, natural screens. You're not just going to go out there, take some paracord, tie it to a tree, call it good and have a seat, right? You're going to build up that position. You're going to implant natural vegetation. You're going to apply your individual camouflage, as well as apply camouflage to your rifle. Now, originally I had intended to show you guys some ways to cheaply and field expediently camouflage yourself. However, I have run out of daylight, so unfortunately we don't have time for that. However, if that interests you, go ahead, drop a like or drop something in the comments, and perhaps we'll see that in a future video. And lastly, guys, today I'm sitting at about 7,500 subscribers, which is a crazy number. Super excited about it. I'm very appreciative of all of the love this channel is getting. And so with that, all I want to say is thank you for watching. It means a lot, and I hope to catch you in the next one.